Welcome to our post-viewing lecture of The Shawshank Redemption. Man, I watched that film earlier today as I was prepping for these lectures, and it just kills me. I really do sort of appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And if you don't, well, let us know why. What I want to talk about in this lecture very quickly is just some sequences you might think about to write your papers on, because the film is really good at giving us very thoughtful, well put together sequences of shots that make us think, and we can follow the camera and think about ideas. If we think about that opening montage, the way the whole film opens, the court scene, watching Andy go back, sit in the car, get drunk, and all that stuff, it's sort of interesting going to that mythic idea from the last lecture. One way to think about that is that those aren't moments of what actually happened. Those are Andy trying to remember, right? Those sequences of him sitting in his car where he truly can't, part because he was traumatized, part because he was drunk, part because memory is a tricky, strange animal inside of us. But that montage, really cool, thoughtful, scary way of looking at the universe in the film. That might be a great moment to look at in terms of camera. Then there's the betting sequence where we get to see the life inside the prison and how they're betting on the guys coming in. And you can think about the camera looking at the bus sort of pull the men in, and everyone hanging out on the other side of the fence, and everything, that all those actors and what they're doing and how they're sort of terrifying the gentlemen coming inside. And then the actual performance of the first night. We get Red's voiceover. We get the close-ups and the medium shots of some of the characters trying to reel in the fish, if you will. And then there's that horrible shot. It's a wide shot. The camera's back, and we see the gentleman who gets beaten to death by Hadley. Not sensationalized at all. Think about the violence you see in films. Typically the camera's moving all over the place and there's all these close-ups on people's faces and the violence itself is kind of exciting. No, this is terrifying. This is almost just a witness to violence. The camera is sitting in that block and we're watching Hadley pummel this guy to death, and every hit feels, obviously it's unethical, but it just feels, it's almost tear-jerking. It's horribly difficult to watch. And it's that still camera that might help us have such difficulty with that moment. When we talk about some other films later on, we're going to talk about how violence has almost become fun in cinema. It's become a dance sequence. And while that might be interesting and cool and aesthetic, it might be beautiful, what else might that be doing to us? Some other moments, the roofing scene, and how the camera sort of deals with being on the roof and looking down, almost being murdered. The sky becomes so important in this film, right? Like the ocean at the end. So that might be an interesting one to look at. The sequences of Andy's rapes, horrible sequences, but really well done, really thoughtful. And you can see how the camera, at one sequence, I think it's the first time it happens, the camera backs up and leaves as if we don't want to watch this. We know it happened, we know it's real, but we're not going to look at it. And to have the camera almost pulled back and leave the room, go rewatch that first sequence and look what the camera does. Again, there's something very special, horrifying, and haunting about how that sort of works out. Look at the film viewings when they're watching the movies inside the prison. First of all, that set is amazing. It's the chapel. So you're going to see religious imagery throughout that while they're watching film. This is Frank Darabont winking at you. Is there an almost spiritual, religious experience to watching a film with other people? And you'll notice that the film, the actual image of the movie being projected on the screen, comes from Jesus's heart in the back wall. It's kind of hard to see, but that might be an interesting point to look at. And then, of course, what I couldn't talk about before you watch the movie, the escape sequence. This sort of amazing, fun montage of Andy getting out and how the camera works and traces his perspective. And then, of course, that final shot of Red walking down the beach to see Andy and what that last crane shot does. Brooks and what happens to him in his little room and how Red goes to the same room. Those shots might be interesting to look at and analyze regarding cinematography. And of course, dozens of others. I love the bird. Oh gosh, What's the bird's name? Sorry, like you could actually tell me right now. I feel horrible. I forgot the damn bird's name. Um, Brooks and screw it. I won't waste your time with me trying to come up with the name of the bird. Um, Although I want to. Those shots are sort of really interesting. You can think about the bird in the pocket and how the camera. It's really about that relationship between Brooks and the crow, and how, or the blackbird, and how that sort of works out. Well, that was probably the worst ending to any lecture I'll give this entire course. Sorry about that. But hopefully, I've just given you a couple ideas of what you might focus on for your essays. I really look forward to seeing them, guys. Hope everything's going well. If you have any questions, let me know as always. We'll see you soon.